You're turning the corner on a street in New York and find yourself running into a cowboy, a construction worker, a soldier, a cop, a biker, and a man in traditional indigenous garb. You don't know these men or what they're doing, but deep in your heart, you know that whatever it is, it's super gay. Since the founding of the costume-clad Village People in 1977, this hodgepodge collection of Halloween/fetish costumes have been synonymous with gay culture, with songs like their breakout hit Macho Man and today's single being cited as key examples of that. Founded by gay man Jacques Morali, a French disco and dance producer, the group was indeed created to target America's disco scene, a genre and culture much beloved by the queer community. However, the lead singer and co-writer of many of the group's songs, Victor Willis, is a straight man. When the only single from their third studio album, 1978's Cruisin', became a smash hit, reaching number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 in the UK, it was also quickly adopted as a gay anthem. Willis initially claimed to be happy with this, but as recently as 2024 has come out against it. Quote, "Since I wrote the lyrics not to know what the lyrics I wrote is really about, come January 2025, my wife will start suing each and every news organization that falsely refers to this song, either in their headlines or alluded in the base of the story, that the song is somehow a gay anthem, because such notion is based solely on the song's lyrics alluding to illicit activity for which it does not," said Willis. For those who haven't been keeping a close eye on the Village People, this bizarre hostility from Willis is not as surprising as it might seem. In 2020, U.S. President Donald Trump used this very track in his presidential campaign with explicit approval from Willis and the Village People. Willis retracted that approval in light of the Black Lives Matter protests of 2020, but in 2024, Willis put his pride on the shelf and the song was used again in Trump's second presidential campaign. Quote, "I started noticing numerous artists withdrawing the president-elect's use of their material. I said to my wife one day, hey, Trump seems to genuinely like this song and he's having a lot of fun with it. As such, I simply didn't have the heart to prevent his continued use of my song in the face of so many artists withdrawing his use of their material. The financial benefits have been great as well. This song is estimated to gross several $1 million since the president-elect's continued use of the song. Therefore, I'm glad I allowed the president-elect's continued use of this song, and I thank him for choosing to use my song," said Willis. As if this craven statement alone didn't prove that ACAB applies to people just dressed up as police officers, Willis doubled down by performing with whatever remains of the Village People at several of Trump's inauguration events in January of 2025. While the recent turn of events for this disco classic may tarnish the legacy of the song and group, we'll try to remember it today for what it really is. A silly song with a goofy dance that was allegedly invented by the audience on an episode of American Bandstand. That's right, we're talking Y.M.C.A. by the Village People on Cover Me.
It's fun to stay at the Y.M.C.A. It's fun to stay at the Y.M.C.A. They have everything for young men to enjoy. You can hang out.
That's right, it's Cover Me, the only podcast that compares famous songs to their many cover versions to find out which one can hang out with all the boys. I'm your host, as always, the Snake, joined by my young co-host,
Alex Millenberger.
Oh, hey there, Alex.
I'm just a little guy.
Just a little guy. Are you down on your luck?
Yes.
I know a place you can go.
Oh my gosh. You know?
I do. It's
I'm
straight
older
to
now.
hell.
I'm not
you
as much of a little guy.
Poor little guy.
Straight to hell.
Alex, how you doing?
How am I doing? I'm doing pretty good. We've been off for a couple weeks now. So that's pretty exciting.
I
to
would
be back,
say it's like the longest break we've taken without a safety net behind
That's
us.
true, yeah. We are definitely doing that. We're doing the safety net thing.
We're playing a little catch up. We're not doing the safety dance, but we are talking about dances.
We are. We've been talking about dances. I mean, we didn't do that one for dances, but it's not really a specific dance.
I guess it is like the little S gesture they do in that video.
Yeah, they
but
do
like
have that stuff.
It's not widely popular. You ask somebody to do the safety dance and they're not going to know it. You ask somebody to do the YMCA and they will know it. But apparently I read while doing research for this that most people do the YMCA dance wrong.
Oh, how's that?
So the M, if you do the M in YMCA, I always touched it to the top of my head.
Yeah.
You're apparently supposed to do it in front of you.
Why does it matter?
Listen, dog. I don't know. But the other one is the C. People do the C backwards. You're supposed to do it, I think, for the viewer's pleasure and not your own sensibility.
Yeah, sometimes I think about which way is the right way to do it, and then I work it out, and then I usually forget shortly thereafter.
Yeah, I think I do it the incorrect way because it feels so natural to me.
Yeah, I wish I just don't. I like. Yeah, I always have to work it out. I don't know, and
Yeah,
like everyone knows what's going on.
Your hand should be facing to the left. You should be motioning to the left because that's looks like a C to people looking at you. If you do it swinging your arms to the right, it's not a C. It's a backward C.
That's true. That would be a backwards C. Yeah, I don't know. But I think as long as you're doing the same thing as what everyone else is doing, like if you're doing it with other people, then like you should be mostly fine.
Yeah, well, if you're swinging your C the wrong direction, somebody might catch hands.
That's true, and you just don't want that to happen.
You don't want that to happen. But when was the last time you actually did the Y.M.C.A. dance?
Well, actually, that's a good question, and I think we did it together.
Oh my god.
In Tunisia.
Oh my god, we did, didn't we?
We did it at our good friend Keelan's wedding in Tunisia.
Shout out to Keelan.
To try to get everyone into the dancing at the wedding. Right. I don't know if I'd say it worked, but we certainly got filmed a lot by people at that wedding.
Yes, it was. What a thing to be like a circus animal at a wedding.
Circus animal at a wedding. Yep, that's it.
Just a spectacle for these people. Yeah, I guess we did the Y.M.C.A. then. I do recall that now, and I probably did the C wrong. Alex, the Village People. It's a band and an appearance that is just synonymous with being gay to me.
Yeah, I've been like exposed to that. I kind of remember hearing that. Like I knew the song before I knew anything about the like alleged or actual gayness.
Right.
And I mean the band is kind of was specifically marketed at gay men, I think.
Gay men. Yeah, I've read that the costumes are supposed to be based on sort of like gay sexual fantasies.
Yeah, / like masculine stereotypes kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't know about that. The first exposure I remember ever getting to them, like I was aware of the Y.M.C.A., you know, we did it at weddings or whatever, right?
Right.
When I was quite young. And then the first time I was actually exposed to the Village People as like these guys that dress up was in Wayne's World, or maybe Wayne's World 2. I can't remember which one it's in. And then it's like, I don't even remember the scene. Like Garth is dressed up as a cop. And then there's like someone in all the other outfits like around him, and it's just like a reference to that. I haven't watched that in a while, but I think like a friend of mine back then told me like, hey, that's what the band dresses up as, also like they're gay or whatever, or like supposedly. And back then it was like, oh, tee what, gay, you know?
Right. Yeah, it was one of those things that like, it was a slow reveal. First you're like, hey, this is a fun dance, I'm a child, I just get to shoot my arms out to make letters, what a concept. And then, like, later on, somebody's like, those dudes are gay. And also, they dress weird. And you're like, okay. And it's a fun little mystery. I also watched a movie recently where people were dressed as the Village People, apparently just because. The movie was Revenge of the Ninja, and a group of street toughs were just dressed as the Village People.
Okay.
No rhyme or reason for it. Apparently, they just wanted to do it, and the director said, hey, go for it. But yeah, these guys have what, 2 songs? This and Macho Man?
I mean, I don't even know Macho Man.
You don't know Macho Man?
Barely.
I think it's been used in ads. That was a song I liked as a kid. So I was small and I wanted to be big and buff. In the Navy? You don't know In the Navy?
Okay, I have heard that one.
You know In the Navy. And we know their cover of, God damn it. The Gigolo, Just a Gigolo.
Oh, yeah.
That's the last time we talked about these guys. Now, we've talked about this group enough. Alex, what about the organization that looms over this song, the Y.M.C.A. itself?
The Y.M.C.A. itself. I mean, I've always lived near a Y.M.C.A., you know?
Oh, yeah.
That's... You know, we grew up in an area that had one. I didn't know about the organization, really, like what they were up to.
They're up to muscular Christianity.
Very interesting. Didn't know about the muscular Christianity at all. I didn't even know what Y.M.C.A. stood for I mean, it probably wasn't that long, but it felt like a long time when
A long time. I feel like when we were growing up, they were really pushing the branding of the Y. Because I knew it as the Y long before I knew it as Y.M.C.A.
That's true.
Which was maybe to get around the gendered aspect of that name, but now I see YMCAs and YWCAs, and they just exist. You can go to either. Dudes can go to the YWCA, women can go to the YMCA.
Yeah, I guess things are maybe a little different in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't. Just never really. It's not a facility I've ever really used. I was aware of it. I never went.
No, that's where I learned how to swim.
Yeah, I didn't take swimming lessons there.
Oh my God, Alex.
So, I mean, I didn't know.
I took a drama class there a couple times.
Oh, really? At the Y?
Yeah, mostly just because my mom needed me to be somewhere while she fucking ran on the treadmill or whatever. Oh, and I did karate lessons there too. I had a lot of history at the Y.M.C.A.
Yeah, oh man, the Y.M.C.A. Yeah, it's just always been there. It's just been a place that I went inside of one time, but I never swam there. It was a pool to me, even though I didn't use it as a pool. That was basically my exposure there. And then I remember hearing about the Y.W.C.A. and how that was more like a shelter,
right?
A home for usually women in bad situations, to not be too specific. And then I was like, is the YMCA that as well? And it sounds like it kind of started that way.
Yeah, so they did have SRO facilities, which is one of the things that's kind of covered in this song. Apparently for people, particularly for people from the countryside who were working in the city, it was kind of hey, get a room here and get yourself sorted. Yeah. And then you can get a real apartment or whatever. But then, of course, you get a lot of people who were using that service weren't just just workers from the countryside, but you'd get a lot of more destitute people, people living on the streets, which, of course, also included queer people who were maybe ousted from their homes due to being queer. So, which is part of where the inherent gayness of this song comes from. I am very much against Victor Willis here and his idea that this song is just an ad for how good it is to play basketball with your homies.
Yeah, it doesn't seem, I don't know. He seems to have made some questionable calls there, related to that. If you can believe it.
Yeah, I would go beyond questionable and just say outright fucking shitty.
Fair enough. And he's like, I don't know, I just really enjoy how much money it makes me when Donald Trump dances to my song.
Yeah, he's like, all these artists are bullying Donald Trump and not letting him use their music, but I love making money. It's fuck you, man.
Hey, okay, hang on a minute. Which I guess, it sounds like, I mean, not really knowing the members, the individual members of the Village People, it was set up by a producer kind of thing. It was more of a pop thing.
Yeah, it was a commercial venue,
yeah.
But one that was built to cater to the gay populace. Because it was founded by the producer who's a gay man. So, to take it away from that purpose and be like, no, it's for the fucking conservative fascist movement now.
It's not great. It's not great.
And then if you take out that counterculture element of this song, that it is what the game Disco Elysium calls the homosexual underground. Without that element to the song, it's pretty limp. It's pretty boring.
Yeah, it's mostly just spelling.
Yeah, it's mostly spelling and just being like, hey, isn't it great that there's a place to practice muscular Christianity? A term that I can't get enough of.
I know, it sounds excellent, and I wish I had been exposed to that at a young age, but I was not.
Hey, I mean, it didn't do much for me, so.
But I mean, who knows? Maybe things would be different.
But different. Maybe you'd have a Y.M.C.A. membership right now, dude. But yeah, apparently this song, so co-written by Jacques Morali, the original producer, who passed away some time ago, and Victor Willis, was apparently inspired, according to Randy Jones, the cowboy, when he took Jacques to the Y.M.C.A. He has a quote here. When I moved to New York in 1975, I joined the McBurney Y.M.C.A. on 23rd Street. I took Jacques there 3 or 4 times in 1977, and he loved it. He was fascinated by a place where a person could work out with weights, play basketball, swim, take classes, and get a room. Plus, with Jacques being gay, I had a lot of friends I worked out with who were in the adult film industry, and he was impressed by meeting people he had seen in the videos and magazines. Those visits with me planted a seed in him, and that's how he got the idea for Y.M.C.A, by literally going to the Y.M.C.A.
Yeah, it is also a funny story because it's like some of it they're like, well, it's not actually about like cruising or whatever.
Yeah.
But
despite being on the album of that title.
Yeah, exactly. But that said, I did write about one time that I went there and was able to meet like a bunch of adult performers.
Yeah, and like
Which
maybe
is not the same thing, obviously, but like there's a sexual undertone, I think.
Sure, and yeah, this kind of loose gathering of pseudo celebrities, particularly ones you only know from a sexual background,
from pornography.
Yeah, and you get to shoot hoops with them.
Yeah, that does sound like fun.
It sounds like a great time. But we've talked about the premise here. People understand the idea. Let's talk about these salacious lyrics. We open. Young man, there's no need to feel down. I said, young man, pick yourself off the ground. I said, young man, because you're in a new town, there's no need to be unhappy. Young man, there's a place you can go. I said, young man, when you're short on your dough, you can stay there, and I'm sure you will find many ways to have a good time.
Many ways to have a good time. I mean, up until, like, it's all very positive, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you need, like, a place to go? You're, like, not feeling great? Hey, there's a solution to that. And really, until, like, the last line, there's not even really, like, double entendre, you know?
Yeah, a lot of this is more a preacher song, arguably. But yeah, many ways to have a good time leaves a lot of room for
but other than that, like, if you're feeling bad, you don't need to, because we have a solution for you. Great.
Great. Yeah, you're in a new town, so it's implied that this is a person who just got here.
Right. Traveling or drifter, whatever. Doesn't have to be a drifter, but like, you know, in a time in your life when you need access to community or shelter or whatever.
Yeah, so we get this idea, hey, if you're down on the luck, you're broke, you don't know anybody in town, rather than not taking action, the action you can take is to go to the Y.M.C.A.
Mm-hmm.
We hit the chorus. It's fun to stay at the Y.M.C.A. It's fun to stay at the Y.M.C.A. They have everything for young men to enjoy. You can hang out with all the boys. It's fun to stay at the Y.M.C.A. It's fun to stay at the Y.M.C.A. You can get yourself clean. You can have a good meal. You can do whatever you feel.
Whatever you feel.
I'm sure Y.M.C.A. does not endorse that policy.
Does not endorse. You can do anything you want, ever.
Do whatever.
No limitations. Okay. What I didn't look into, I mean, I know there's like rumors about like, oh, this one Y.M.C.A. was like known to be like a spot for like gay men to meet each other or whatever and then go have sex. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's kind of the
story. It probably happened at some location.
I'm sure someone did it at some point, right?
Yeah.
In the sense that probably someone's met almost everywhere.
Yeah, people meet everywhere, and then like again, this song was targeted to gay people. I imagine you saw an increase in gay Y.M.C.A. memberships
after this song.
It's like, again, was it salacious? Were these dudes fucking in the bathrooms or like in the pools and shit? I don't know, but they were probably meeting there and hanging out and maybe having sex later.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure that's true of a lot of people who just met anywhere, right? Like,
that's true.
That happens. I'm told that happens.
But, I mean, the phrasing of these lines, and I don't know where Victor Willis starts and where Jacques Morelli starts, but they have everything for young men to enjoy. You can hang out with all the boys. Pairing those two lines together and be like, no, it's about basketball.
Like hanging out with all the boys. And like, you just need like a wink.
Yeah. You can get yourself clean. You can have a good meal. Those are pretty plain. Stop doing drugs. Eat a regular meal. You can do whatever you feel is a little more on the
True. Again, it's many ways to have a good time. Like, it's very vague and open. You know? You can take whatever you want out of it, basically, because you can do whatever you feel, and you can take whatever you feel out of that phrasing.
And I guess if we look at the role of the narrator here, there's really only two things he can be. One is a preacher, the way he's like, young man, like in the verses he feels like a preacher, but in those end lines he feels more like he's just coming on to this person a little, maybe. Like, hey, we'll just see where it goes at the Y.M.C.A., right? Like,
yeah, I was kind of wondering, I mean, because the YMCA is obviously the C is Christian and it's like this kind of muscular Christianity. Like, is there any like anti-establishment side to it where it's like, if it is, I mean, if the song is in fact about gay sex, using like a church establishment for that
to do that
is kind of is a bit, you know, what I said, like counterculture kind of, you know,
and kind of taking advantage of some of the premise of muscular Christianity, which is like a love of the like masculine body and like working it to perfection. Like, it's a little gay
in the sense of like it's all about like male body aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if that's your focus,
yeah,
it's not difficult to at least interpret it that way.
Yeah, it's like, so it's, I feel like even if this is not an explicit like come have an orgy at the YMCA,
yeah,
it's very much like the YMCA is actually a great place for gay youth to hang out.
Yeah. Sounds like it. I mean, honestly, the song makes it sound so good. Like, I'd love to go. Like, sounds great.
Yeah, a good meal?
Yeah.
I'm already sold.
I mean, they probably don't have good meals anymore, but they probably do still have a cafeteria of some kind. I don't know.
Yeah, they had vending machines at the one I went to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was probably the same one, right? Just up the hill.
Yeah, in, like, Crowfoot.
Yeah, in Crowfoot.
Yeah.
Still there. They often have a pile of ice outside.
Oh, yeah.
Do they have a skating rink in there?
I think they do.
Is
it outside?
Well, you like bring the ice out, the like snow when you resurface it or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I haven't been to that since I was a child, like probably 20 years.
I drive by every once in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, where are we going with this? The chorus of YMCA. Yeah. It says it makes the YMCA sound really great. It sounds like it could be marketing for the YMCA, but it's like free marketing for the YMCA.
Yeah.
I wonder if they would exist in the way they do now, if not for this song.
Not for this boost? Ah, it's crazy. They did sue. They were like, hey, you can't be talking about the YMCA. And then eventually they settled out of court because they're like, obviously this is doing fucking
I feel like this is doing them favors, yeah. Like, I mean,
huge
certainly
favors.
Me as a young person, I wasn't like, it's so gay. Like, I heard about it probably when I was fairly young, you know, like 12-ish.
Mm-hmm.
But I still wasn't like, this is such a gay song or anything like that, you know? I was like, this is just the one you do at weddings. Because I was so established before I heard that I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't really read that way to me.
Yeah, and that's kind of like how you had to be, I think, in 1978 when this came out, is you could wink, but you couldn't be like, hey, it's gay time.
True, that's the other thing, is like, of course they're going to say it's not, like, it's as plausible for it to be, like, completely coincidental as it is for them to just not want to say it.
Yeah.
For many, many reasons.
And then, like, it got to the point. I just find his reaction so bizarre, especially we've talked about another gay anthem. And I say that because I don't think you as the author get to decide what is and isn't a gay anthem.
That's true.
Robin's Dancing by Myself.
Yeah.
Dancing on My
Own.
She's straight. And she wrote that song. It became a gay anthem. She was just like, hey, right on. I'm glad so many people resonate with this. And then she did the smart move of not letting, a Republican president use it. That's all she had to do, was not suck from that point on.
Yeah, you can be very, very neutral. I mean, like, some artists just get picked, it just happens.
Yeah.
It's not, yeah. It's something that gets decided by, like, a community. It's a community decision. Like, it's a natural group decision. There's not like a vote, obviously.
There's no vote. But, it's just like the natural process.
If it becomes that, then it becomes that.
It becomes that. It's out of your hands, dude. But yeah, fuck Victor Willis. Let's get to verse 2. Young man, are you listening to me? I said, young man, what do you want to be? I said, young man, you can make real your dreams, but you've got to know this one thing. No man does it all by himself. I said, young man, put your pride on the shelf and just go there to the YMCA. I'm sure they can help you today. So put your pride on the shelf is maybe the only anti-gay line in here.
Put your pride on the shelf. It is June. It is Pride Month.
It is Pride Month. We have like coincidentally made like a gay month of content for like songs we've chosen.
Yeah, not on purpose, but certainly we have a few.
We've got a few
choices
here.
in there.
And hey,
this
right
one,
on, happy Pride.
This is definitely like, once you get to this part of the song, I am not listening to the lyrics anymore.
Yeah,
like I barely knew verse 1, and then verse 2 is like, no, when is the part where we wave our arms around?
Yeah, I'm ready for the next chorus. I hear you.
But it's more like, obviously there's more things like verse 1. They have everything you need. It's a little more explicit there. Yeah,
he's a little more aggressive in this verse too.
Sorry, I read the wrong
man,
part.
Are you listening to me?
Dreams. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why you're not listening at this point. That's why you can get away with lines like, you can make real your dreams.
Yeah. Can I make real my dreams? Wow. Well, that's the like poetry thing of like, you got to Shakespeare it up by flipping it around to make it sound okay, even though it's really awkward language.
Yeah, he's trying to get a slant rhyme with me and B, I think, right?
It's got to be, right?
Sorry.
I said, but also like, it's definitely, this part makes it feel more like the supportive side of things, right? It's like, you need the support, you need like they can help you, and admit that you need help. It's a positive experience, and I think that is an important thing, especially, I think for a lot of people, it's hard to ask for help.
Yeah.
So if there's a situation like this where there's something available, it's great. And half of this song, at least, is just like, oh, the YMCA sure is great as an organization, regardless of any other factors.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like the song 8 Miles High, and the quote from, oh my God, Crosby.
Right.
Crosby, I think. He was like, it can be both about riding in a plane and being high as fuck. Like,
it can be both.
Time. So I like to bring up that quote when we try to find definitive versions of something, because you're right, this is a promotion of the YMCA.
There's no one answer.
But you can see both sides of this coin. Put your pride in yourself. Go to the YMCA. I'm sure they can help you today. Yeah, go there, dude. Go meet people. And he's saying meet people. No man does it by himself. He's like, go and be a part of this community. Put your pride on the shelf, though.
Yeah.
Boom. It's fun to stay at the YMCA, get yourself clean and all that. Verse 3, young man, I was once in your shoes. I said I was down and out with the blues. I felt no man cared if I were alive. I felt the whole world was so jive. That's when someone came up to me and said, young man, take a walk up the street. It's a place there called the YMCA. They can start you back on your way. Now, you can see the self-help side of this real easy. I was also a down and out man once.
Yeah, now we got the story.
Yeah, but an interesting choice of words is not, I felt no one cared if I were alive, but no man.
It's all men.
Yeah.
We're really focusing on men.
This one's for the men. It's Father's Day sometime around the release of this, either before or after it.
True, very close.
So let's hear it for the boys, right?
Let's hear it for the boys. It's all for the boys, for the daddies, if you will.
I mean, yeah, it's Pride Month, but Pride Month is for the boys this year.
It's for the boys this year. Just this year. This is year. It's for everyone again next year. Yeah. It's all for the boys. It is. I mean, it is. It's them.
Yeah, the M in YMCA is men.
Is men's. He's talking to men specifically, and in this case, I mean, I don't know when the YWCA was established, but they did separate them at the time for sure. So it's like, we can't do a dance with a W as easily, although you could.
Yeah, that's kind of the tricky thing is, like, for covers of this, you can't even really do a provocative like YWCA. Like it's
a lot of syllables.
Yeah,
it's a lot of syllables. But I mean, the upshot is just that he's sharing, hey, I was sad too, and then I used this resource. It almost seems like this should come in earlier to be like, hey, I did this and I felt better. You should do this too, as opposed to like, you should do this because I did it once, It's not that big a deal, though.
They're kind of priding themselves on this being like a twist.
Right.
There's like a cyclical nature to this, because then you'll be the guy singing it to the next person.
That's true. Like, just a reminder, I did this. It was, that's how I know.
Yeah.
Which I assumed, but whatever.
Yeah, I kind of I didn't think you were just some guy who'd heard about it from another guy. and
I've heard it's
didn't go.
great. I've heard it
Heard
can
it's
make all your
great,
dreams
man.
come true. I can make real your dreams.
So, interestingly enough, the Y.M.C.A. organization just celebrated its 181st birthday
Oh wow.
yesterday
Oh,
for us.
June
recording.
6th. Look
June
at that
6th.
D-Day.
D-Day. 11 years later, the YWCA would form. So
Okay.
the YMCA has been around since 1844, and the YWCA has been around since 1855.
1855. It's a long time.
Long time. But yeah, so he's like, I also love the line, I felt the whole world was so jive.
Yeah.
It's a funny line.
Sometimes I forget. Well, I mean, the word jive doesn't get used very often anymore. It is
No.
fun to hear it in like 1970s stuff.
Hell yeah, dude.
Just because, I don't know, it's a fun word. Especially when it means like not good.
Yeah, this stuff is so jive, and it really does color the narrator now because we know he's not a white dude talking like that.
True. That is part of it too. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice. It's nice to get the story. You get the story.
we got the
Someone
full
pass it on to
story.
me, and I'm passing it on to you.
To you, go to the YMCA. This is what we do. And that's from there. It's outros. We young man are listening to me. What do you want to be in the outro? Which he's already said before. Pride on the shelf. Hey man, go to the YMCA. The
Hey,
song,
man.
if you really want to strip everything away, yeah, is just like go to the YMCA. You will get what you need there, and you can apply a wink to that statement or not.
Yeah. Is
But I
that the
think to
intention? I
deny
mean,
the wink is to deny some of the origins of this group.
yeah, and it's really hard to believe that no one heard this song and was like, it kind of sounds like, like when they were making this song, no one said like, you know what this sounds like?
Yeah.
Or like, hey, are you trying to, like, no one said it? I don't know about that, man.
I don't
Like,
know about that. And like, or by their enthusiastic agreement to do this, that it's like obviously, yeah, because they were like, hey, it's pretty gay at the YMCA. Like, it just feels like we're lying about something here, guys.
Yeah, or we're not allowed to say it, which honestly, fair enough. Again, don't blame anyone for like not wanting to say anything if that's the case. It is a little weird that like
2024,
we keep the kayfabe up,
Yeah, I don't think it's a matter of kayfabe here. I think Victor Willis is genuinely mad.
Yeah, Victor Willis is
He's
maybe not doing so hot.
Not doing so hot. I hope he's not doing hot because fuck that guy. Yeah, we know the dance. The dance originated on January 6th, 1979. Just thought I'd bring up that fact.
Yeah, so it was like kind of an accident, like, or like people just did it in the audience.
Yeah,
Is that
in the audience,
story?
they just did it, and then Dick Clark was like, "Hey, did you see what the audience was doing?" And they're like, "No." He's like, "Do it again." And so they did the song twice, and then he asked Victor Willis, he's like, "You think you can work that into your routine?" And he's like, "I think we're gonna have to."
Yeah.
And boom, the dance is born. But what are we dancing to? The song. What does the song sound like?
Yeah, what
disco,
does it
dude.
sound like?
It sounds like fucking disco.
It does sound like disco.
The song has a much longer instrumental introduction than I thought.
It does, yeah. It takes about 25 seconds before you actually get into the song, which, I mean, in terms of its use as like a wedding event type song, I was thinking
It kind of
weddings,
gets
so,
people
like,
to the floor.
you have time to get to the floor. You're like, oh, it's the
Yeah.
YMCA. We can walk over. We don't have to rush. We have some time. And we can also kind of like dance while we move. You can kind of be like,
Right.
let's walk with rhythm or whatever. You know,
You're putting your toes in the water. You're feeling it out. It is
Exactly.
weird
You're
though
warming
because
up a
like
bit.
the brass is it brass? Yeah, the brass
Dun,
like
dun, dun. Yeah.
line is the hook for me. So when it was opening up and it's just the drums and like
Yeah.
and like some power chord strums, I'm like, what fucking song is this?
It does kind of sound like it could be anything, right? You're like, this is disco. But certainly, at the time in my life when I was introduced to this song, this was the only one.
Right.
There wasn't other disco to
You weren't
to
a disco
confuse it with.
aficionado.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough, but it's just like I think in my head the song starts at the brass.
Yeah, I mean, classic riff right there, It takes a bit to get into it, though. Like, there's a few. It does take a bit to get into it, not that long. And then there's actually quite a bit, like, in terms of the horns, they've got layers because there's still like a bass pulse on the lower horns, and then the higher horns are playing the riff.
Yeah, they layer it up
yeah.
too. So in that intro section, you get it like 3 different times with more horns.
Yeah. And I mean, the drums are going. They've got the cymbals, lots of cymbals, good like pulse on the bass drum. So yeah, it's really going.
Yeah. So, and we keep that. This is another, like, what we find with a lot of dance songs is they set up the instrumentation and kind of just let it ride.
Yeah.
And we do get that here, but we're still moving things in. So yeah, about 27 seconds in, we hit our first young man.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this. I was trying to like just listen to the voice and be like, is this like, they don't sound to me just listening to them like they should be like unique and iconic necessarily. Like they don't have like a weird thing going on, but it feels iconic all the same. And I don't exactly know why, but like maybe it's just because they're a little deep.
Young man.
There's no need to feel, but like
I think the punchiness of that line too it's good because it's boom boom da 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 boom boom. It
is good, and then they do the spread out bit. Bum 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 bum.
Yeah, so they have like kind of almost a musical theater element to it because I mean these guys wear costumes, they're doing dances.
True.
Like and they are a group for gay people, if not by gay people.
Right. Which kind of also. And then the other thing that happens there with is the pointing. That is a part of the dance that has actually survived. Or that has been around for longer, interestingly enough. Like that's in their music video. Like that's been around. They've been doing that longer than they've been doing the Y.M.C.A. hand motions.
Right.
And I do think that like people still do that part from my memory.
I do think the video is famous. Like I do think people know and recognize the music video.
Yeah.
Which of course you would have to know that these dudes are in costumes.
Right.
But yeah, so I do think parts like exist, and like we were kind of saying, that young man moment is so punchy and iconic despite not having like maybe kooky voices behind it or even stand out like virtuoso voices. Like it has that impact, and so then when it's a hand motion is tied to that, you're in. Like that stays in our minds.
It does somehow.
It does. And what else do we got going on here? The brass fucking carries.
Brass is going, lots of horns. Particularly there's a young man, and then there's like horns. Well, it kind of pauses.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, there's an EP that came in before it. Before it was playing like, it's kind of more subdued, but it was playing chords. And then now they're playing fast and like bouncy.
Yeah, and so our bass too in the like intro was just kind of 4 on the floor,
and it's like going.
And now it's moved up to a sort of root octave bass line. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh yeah, it's the other like more disco bass line.
Yeah, it's very classic.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also like a bit of strings, just a little bit, like right at the very end. Not very much. Not very much at all.
They also are what brings us into the verse.
Oh yeah, right at the start.
Yeah, so around like 24 seconds, you'll hear it coming in.
Oh yes, they do the string like rising swell thing.
Yeah,
that is a good like sweep up. You know, it feels it's like a whirlwind.
I mean, yeah, kind of like what we're saying about the young man moment. Like a lot of the moves here are pretty simple and straightforward. Like I've heard that fucking string swell elsewhere. But it all comes together here to carry a song pretty well. Like the bass line is pretty classic disco bass, but it's working here. The drums, everything's working here despite being perhaps just a little cliche.
Perhaps. But it's also just like genre stuff, right?
Genre stuff. Yeah, you got the energy behind it.
Yeah. And you definitely have that. Anything else on here? I guess... No, just like that they do that spread out thing, and then you get like big high horn blasts and stuff. And everything kind of joins. Ba, 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 ba. And then, as you mentioned, like the vocals accent those notes as well. 1, 2, ha, ha, ha,
Yeah, they
Or, like,
love
that's all
this
the
like
syllables.
staccato shit. They do it for the young man. They do it at that kind of like change up at the end of stanzas, and we get a different version of it leading us into the chorus, which is like high horn blast and some bam, 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 down, down. It's fun to stay at the, and then we hit the fucking like suddenly the rhythm kicks back in again.
Yeah, there's a ton of it. But I mean, that's the verse. You know,
Yeah,
we get into a chorus after that. This is the big chorus. We know the chorus. It's fun to stay at the Y.M.C.A.
Yeah, big drum roll into there.
Yeah, so the other things, like, you get the horn just real quick. The bam, bam, bam. They get the 5, like, quick horn blasts. I don't know exactly what the horns are doing, but you can kind of hear them fall off, right? Like, it's not just a blast. It's like, bam, 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 you know?
Right.
It's a bit of a cat.
But
But like they do that, so like it's more than just blasting the note, because like the fall off afterwards is kind of there, and that's part of it too. Which is I don't know, it's kind of impressive because it's fast. Like they don't have much time to do that, but they do it.
Yeah, you managed to fit that in there. Interesting. It's interesting production.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up because not everyone does it, and it can feel a little like this is very clean.
Yeah, and it does such a good job of like adding a little tension, keeping that energy high, and yeah, getting that little trail off. It's just like it's an interesting move. You don't hear it.
Yeah.
You don't hear it often. But yeah, we hit the chorus, and yeah, drum roll in. Fucking the bass is somehow even more disco here. It's like kind of galloping on it now. We got hand claps.
Oh
We
yeah,
got the full group singing. Like this is a full on disco chorus.
yeah. Now we're in it, right?
Yeah.
The bass is so much faster. It's like bum, ba-da-bum, ba-da, like galloping. Is it galloping?
Yeah.
I think it's
It's got
galloping.
boom, da-da-doom, da-da-doom, da-da. Feels like a gallop to me. A
Yeah.
horse could move to that.
Yeah, horse could move to that. And now the horns are following the lyrics, you know, supporting that Y.M.C.A, all that stuff. Otherwise,
Yeah.
they have this like descending pattern they play. And group vocals. This is a real like shout along. Obviously, this is your join in chorus. This is what you do. You join in, you shout Y.M.C.A, you make the hand wavy motions, and then that's it. That's all.
Yeah, and credit to Willis where it's due. He is punching these lead vocals too. You can get yourself clean. You can do some fucking stuff. He's thrilled about the Y.M.C.A.
Yeah, you can do some stuff.
You can do whatever you feel, apparently.
Whatever you feel.
Just pick something, man.
That's the trick. You got to pick
That's the
something.
trick.
And then if everything is available to you, how do you pick?
How do you pick?
It's just too much stuff.
People heard that in real time. We could have suggested any one of just like, almost any activity we could have thought at. We could have said like doing your laundry there or like running illegal game. We had so many options to make a joke there, and we both sat in silence for about
Like-
10 seconds.
You know, like things. Stuff? Huh?
We had the setup for a joke and no follow through, folks.
That's the story of my life.
That should be the tagline for this podcast.
It sounds like a joke, but there's no joke.
Say things with the tone of a joke. Abandon them immediately.
Abandon immediately. Speaking of abandoning things immediately, the verse.
Yeah, it's back now.
It's back. The verse is back. There's not much different here. I mean, really, all I note is like the EP. It's a bit louder. Great. That's great.
EP's a bit louder. And
The horns?
tambourine stays. There's
Different
a
licks.
tambourine in the chorus.
Oh, there's a tambourine. Okay.
Yeah. You know when we're picking up tambourine, there's a lot to dig
There's
in.
a lot to dig into, exactly. I'm like, that's a little more. And then, you know, it doesn't change a whole lot, right? Like it moves in through a chorus. The organ you can hear a bit more in that next chorus, just a little bit. It's like mostly covered up. I didn't hear it really before. Actually, I think it might just be the EP from before now that I'm thinking about
maybe.
it again.
There's also strings in here too, like there's like staccato breakdown at the end of stands. Dun, dun, dun. There's a little bit of string there. So yeah, classic pop setup. It's basically the same but louder.
Yeah. Until the following verse. So once we're on the third verse, like the energy's down a bit, right? Like
Yeah.
it sounds like he's almost like getting tired.
Yeah, because he's fed up with this guy.
Yeah. Or like it's more personal. Like we got really excited on the last one, and now it's like he's taking it down to the same level. He's like, I was once in your shoes.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like it's a good believable performance, you know?
Mhm.
It's not just a build. He's like adjusting his energy with the audience and like giving them a chance to like rest a bit in that third verse
Right.
before we really jump into the next chorus and then like the outro.
Yeah, but they do still have those brass licks after his line, and they're almost more triumphant coming into the second and third verse.
Oh yeah.
They go up. So we're still keeping some of that energy, but you're right. We're also trying to create like an intimate confessional moment here during that phase, but keeping that energy up. We got to do both at the same time. And from there we move into the instrumental verse. Around 3:43 is my timestamp.
Right. It's like kind of a post-chorus, like, well, I called it a bridge, but yeah, it's like another verse, right?
Yeah, it's a bridge because it's instrumental, but like it's doing the verse structure.
Yeah. But I mean, it's all. What was your timestamp? 3:30.
3:43. It's a little
43.
earlier than that, maybe like
43.
3:30.
Yeah. And like you get the like it's kind of a horn solo going on there.
Kind of.
Like there's just a lot of horns playing.
Yeah, it's more like you can just hear the horns because they're doing most of what they're doing in the verse. But now it's just like.
But there's just no singing.
There's no singing.
Yeah, fair enough.
But we hit
honestly.
that. We hit the outro. He's going nuts. Young man, young man.
Yeah, lots of title line like young man, Y.M.C.A, chorus things, and it's just like it's fading out.
Yeah.
This is the end, you know?
Let's fade out. We hit the end. There you go. 4 minutes, 47 seconds. Could this song be shorter? For sure. But it is a dance track.
It is. And you got to dance to it. You got to have some time to dance to it.
Yeah.
Visibly. I mean, the question here, what does that dancing look like?
What does that dancing look like? Well, it's outside of the Y.M.C.A.
At McBurney.
At McBurney, which is the Y.M.C.A. that inspired the song,
Yeah.
allegedly. And we get hard shots of this Y.M.C.A. sign throughout.
Oh yeah, like the first beginning is just like it zoomed in on the sign, and then it zooms out, and there's like an ad for a bank.
Yeah, I love when they do this slow zoom out, but when they do the like action zoom ins and like shakes on it, it's so good. They try to later there's a Y.M.C.A. sign to the side of the Y.M.C.A. painted mural that it's focused on initially. And they try to do a tilt to kind of capture the rhythm of Y.M.C.A. pointing at each letter.
Right.
But they haven't zoomed in enough, so they run out of space to tilt down after hitting C. They left it in there. It's like, fuck, good enough.
Yeah, there is a bit of like a low budget feel to this one. There's definitely moments where it's not as tight as it probably could be. Like they're doing their dance and it looks good enough. But it also looks a little scattered, especially when they're pointing and stuff, and it's like they're not really quite in time together.
Yeah, it's definitely loose, and we're talking 78, which is a little early.
It is early for music videos.
Not
like, who's seeing this?
Too early. Yeah, like
there's no MTV.
Where were they putting this?
Yeah, I don't know.
They weren't playing it at the Y.M.C.A. People, they were mad at them.
Yeah.
They were suing them.
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't think it was recorded later. As far as I can tell, it says 78, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, I guess it could have been made later, but I don't know.
I didn't look that up.
I didn't look up that fact. But interestingly, they do somehow accidentally hit a similar vibe to Eye of the Tiger, one of the earliest MTV music videos, which is just your whole band on streets in a row.
Yeah, they're on streets, and they're all over the place. They're like at the docks. They're at on the streets. They're in like a park. I think it's all in New York.
Yeah.
There's trees and stuff. And of course, they have their costumes on.
Yes, they do.
They're all over the place. They're men on the street.
Yeah, they're everywhere. You get close-ups on certain village persons when they're pointing. Gotta be easy to be the guy in like just army fatigues.
Just compared to the other ones, like his costume's less.
Every
elaborate?
other one is such a costume. His is like very walkable in, and you could get like a military discount if you go to the right venue.
Right, like no one's gonna look at you twice on the street because you're just in like vague fatigues. I don't think. Not as much as the other ones. Also the construction worker, but he does have to wear that hard hat, which is probably not comfortable.
If he didn't have the hard hat, he'd look like a totally normal dude.
Yeah. But yeah, the hard hats, they're not comfortable. And then of course there's like the biker guy, and he's got a whole like mustache to take care of. And
that's a big fucking mustache.
Yeah, that's bushy. It's a bushy.
That thing's huge. The cowboy's got a little mustache. This dude's got a huge fucking mustache.
Massive. But there's not much else to say about this video.
No, a lot of. Hey, actually, you know what? At 107,
okay,
I think is the timestamp here. He says the line, "You can get yourself clean," and suggestively rubs himself down.
Oh,
if you didn't want people to think the song, I mean, come on.
That's true. That is like not quite just like washing yourself.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the dance move. That's how you show it when you're dancing.
You get yourself clean.
You have a good meal. And then, do whatever you feel.
And yeah, he also hugs himself when saying do whatever you feel, which seems like an intimacy thing.
True. It's true.
Hey, man. I'm just against Victor Willis here. I want him to sue the podcast so we can get in the news. This is like
just
our
want to
best
be in the
path to fame.
I mean, it's not the worst path.
We can become part of the hashtag resistance.
Resistance. Against Victor Willis.
Victor Willis. Public enemy number one. Yeah, if you go to, 310, you can see them do the Y.M.C.A. Tilt maneuver.
Okay, I'm going to go there. I'm going to check it out. Right there. And it's going to go...
I think their problem is they don't cut to Y early enough.
Oh yeah,
it just feels like they're catching up.
It doesn't line up. Line up. I thought maybe that like YouTube just screwed up the audio tracking, but I don't think that's the case because it matches up most of the time in terms of their vocals. But
my absolute favorite, and you've seen it earlier, but you see it at 3:23, is just the fucking guy getting goofy with the zoom on the YMCA.
Oh yeah, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's the C. Look at the C. Emphasis on the Christianity.
Yeah. Young Man's Christian Association.
But that's it. That's it.
That's the music video. It's kind of exactly what you would expect. I'd be surprised if people haven't seen it before. I think it's a pretty
I don't know if I've ever watched it all the way through, but I was generally familiar with the fact that there was a video of guys on the street dancing.
Yeah. I feel like you see it at some point, even if you don't see the whole thing. You're like, okay, I know. I get the idea of it.
Yeah.
But you're all about to get the idea of a bunch of covers of this song right after this short break.
We're
back talking covers of Y.M.C.A. starting in the year 2005 with the questionably named Shootin' Goon.
Shootin' Goon.
It's fun to stay at the Y.M.C.A. It's fun to stay at the Y.M.C.A. They have everything for your men to enjoy. You can hang out with all the...
Could not figure out what that is actually supposed to mean in 2005.
Yeah, in 2005, is it just like a henchman with a gun?
Like you're shooting a goon?
Or is it supposed to be like shooting goo, like they're jizzing, but they threw an N on the end?
I don't know. I mean, like, obviously goon is a much more common term nowadays. But I don't think that's the context here. I didn't think that was around in 05.
No, and
the internet's not mature enough.
A goon bag is an Australian term for like bagged wine, I believe. Like boxed wine, which is in a bag.
These guys are Welsh, right?
These are Welsh, so it wouldn't be that. I'm exploring our options.
Right, yeah. They're a Welsh ska group.
Yes. And boy, do they deliver on being that.
They sure do. I also like... I was looking through the band's membership, and there's two guys. One guy's name is Dan, and the other guy's name is Dan Jones, and I just think it's fun that they have two Dans, and one is
Dan
has a
Jones
last name. So anyway, what are these guys? I mean, yeah, third wave ska, right? Ska punk stuff.
Yeah.
Fast guitar also is there. Ska. Now they have horns. They sound decent. They're not as snappy as the original ones. That's kind of what I was alluding to before. Is like they don't have the technique of the ones in the original version. Fair enough. This is a like ska band from Wales. Not that the Welsh are known for their messy horns or anything, just that it's a, like ska punk group. I wouldn't expect them to have like the tightest playing.
Yeah.
So they have that, and they play the riff, da, 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 all that stuff.
Da, 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 da. Yeah. Yeah, and it sounds a little cheaper, right? Like even their horns, I almost thought were synthetic. But I mean, for a ska group, it's got to be real horns, right?
Yeah. And then, I mean, that's all kind of in the intro, and they like have the chugging guitar, almost galloping, which we were kind of doing with the bass before.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they get into they get through that pretty quickly compared to the original. And then they get into the verse, and then they just kind of settle into a skank, and then they sing, and they do the horn parts.
Yeah. It's a pretty straightforward version.
Yeah. There's more distorted guitar when they do that spread out part. Bow, 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 bow,
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Yeah, and they do the horn blast to go into the chorus.
Yeah. And then the chorus is more like it's heavier, right? It has the heavy chugging.
It's where we get the punk, really, at least for the startup. And then when he hits they have everything for young men to enjoy. We almost hit like circus music with those horns. Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, so it's kind of that, sometimes we get this with ska punk stuff where it's like, oh, the verses are ska and the chorus is punk, or the other way around.
Yeah.
And like that happens sometimes. This one sounds fine enough. It does have a little more though. Because once they get through the song, because they really get through it quickly, there's silence.
This is a classic, so you have to understand this, kids. I assume we're mostly talking to children here. CDs or compact discs. Our stats tell us we're talking to boomers.
Our stats tell us but they, honestly, it's that, based on the stats I've seen, the people we may be talking to might actually be too old to have experienced some of this stuff.
Experienced the CD. Well, and anecdotally, I know we're talking to John and Fatima.
Yeah, we're talking to John and Fatima. So anyway, anyone who doesn't know,
John and Fatima, they used to do music. It wasn't all streaming back in the day.
Yeah,
compact discs or CDs were the most popular way to get an album. And sometimes, what a band would do as a sneaky secret is they wouldn't list an extra track on the track listing, but it would be there in secret. And there would just be a bunch of empty air at the end of what was perceived to be the final track. And then if you just let it play out long enough, boom, suddenly a song's playing. Else.
And then it wasn't like listed, so like you couldn't skip to it because it wasn't in the like table of contents on the CD itself. It was technically part of the same track.
Yes.
But if you kept listening, then it would play.
And that's what we get here.
That seems to be what's happening.
I did want to talk about at about 113. He says, "Young man." Kind of sounds like 5 years a bit to me, just a bit. I said, "Young man, we got 5 years." It's like the same notes or something. I don't know.
Just like shouting in that way. They also say, "Do what the fuck you feel." At one point,
that's
because they're punk, they're rock and roll,
punk band. But yeah, I was obsessed with getting the CD ending track experience on streaming.
That was fun. I definitely wasn't expecting it, and then it popped up. And then I had to check, like, oh, is this the last track? And it is.
It is.
It's just another track. It's let's see. Woke up this morning, my head was just a mess. I jumped in the shower. I thought I looked my best. Every day I know it's all the same because everyone tells me that you're just lame. Is the lyrics that I transcribed. And then it sounds like there's an audience cheering, so I don't think it's actually live, but maybe.
Hey, maybe an audience cheered for it once and they put it on there.
Yeah,
but that's a song, pretty straightforward, but it works. Like, this one works well enough. It's a little cheap sounding, but you got the energy. You can do whatever the fuck you want at the Y.M.C.A. You're shooting Goon, bro.
Shootin' Goon.
We're fucking shooting Goon, but we got to shoot on to our next band, Berk and the Virtual Band in 2007.
We do.
He's fine to stay at the Y.M.C.A. Y.M.C.A. They have everything that you need to enjoy.
This is a little bossa jazz.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that this is also like a Cover Factory type group. Like, I couldn't find anything on them specifically.
Yeah, it's a lounge jazz / down-tempo project led by Sergei Perez Berk.
There you go. I see.
He's a guy.
Sergey. Look at that.
This dude plus some guest artists, but like you said, largely, and the sound is pretty much cafe reggae / cafe bossa.
Yeah.
Because it is more bossa to jazz, but I'm thinking of those cafe reggae albums we've often talked about.
Yes. It would exist on those potentially. People aren't picky.
Yeah. I mean, this is from the hit album Jazz Chill Volume 2.
Volume 2. Oh, didn't make Volume 1. That's too bad.
But yeah, you're instantly transported to a hotel lobby in the tropics.
Yeah.
We got soft guitar. We got, I think, a little bit of like xylophone or something in the back.
Could just be an EP.
Could be an EP. You're probably right. And like a little sax comes in too.
Yeah.
Sax is the saving grace on this.
Yeah, the sax is nice. It plays along like before we get to the vocals in particular.
Yes.
It like does its own little thing.
It does, yeah. It has its own little solo as everything else just kind of chills. You got shaker percussion.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just like jazz chords. For the most part.
Yeah.
And like bossa rhythm.
And then, yeah, we get your classic, like, soft, gentle female singer for this. A little weird to hear a woman telling you about the Y.M.C.A., I guess.
Right, because these are like feminine vocals.
Yeah. Big risk on her part to talk to some destitute young man on the streets.
Yeah, but you know where you could go. The Y.M.C.A.
Y.M.C.A.
But yeah, it's mostly that. You know, it's got the licks and flourishes of like a bossa jazzy version. Pretty straightforward, decent like sound. You get that nice like echoey soft guitar kind of in the background, doing like little licks and like arpeggios and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a trumpet that comes in for the chorus. But like, yeah, it's pretty even other than like the breakdown section.
Yeah. And I'm here for the brass. Anytime brass comes in on this track, we're having fun.
It is nice. Yeah, there's nice like trumpet. Kind of like leading into that breakdown is what I'm noticing.
Yeah.
Where you kind of like break down to the strumming and like the vocals get really echoey and there's like chime sounds. Yeah, the way what they do there, like it's the back half of the third verse, but it's like broken up, so it's not saying all the words. So it's just like a few lines of it.
Right, yeah. And doing that little breakdown, that staccato breakdown at the end of it. Dun, 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 dun.
And then like it's like all I'm getting after that is like trumpet runs, you know?
Yeah. That shit's good.
Yeah. So like there's some cool stuff in here. Sorry, I guess at one point she was hang out with the boys. I don't remember where. I didn't write down a timestamp, but it just made me think of Jeff Goldblum, who also like is involved with jazz music sometimes.
Oh yeah. See, I was at about 53 seconds. Instead of saying short on your dough, it sounds like she says shirt on your dove.
Shirt on your dove. What did you say? What's the timestamp?
53 seconds.
53 seconds. Shirt on your dove.
When your shirt on your dove.
Yeah, it does sound like that.
It does sound like that. Surely it's not, but...
Yeah. I thought it was like decent. It doesn't like super stand out, but it's not... Like sometimes these bossa covers can be kind of boring.
Can be, yeah.
I didn't think this was like boring necessarily, but also not terribly notable.
It laid down like a pretty basic like rhythm floor,
yeah.
And then some of the brass, especially working around that, was what made it worth listening to. My one thing is that you could sing any fucking thing over this.
That's true. It did not have to be Y.M.C.A.
Yeah, to Y.M.C.A. is so tenuous. Like, just sing a different song. but they're a little more creative than perhaps the Sign posters in 2011.
It's fun to stay at the Y.M.C.A. It's fun to stay at the Y.M.C.A. They have everything for you men to enjoy.
Yeah, the sign. Now this
on these
one
guys?
was boring.
This one was boring as hell.
This is another. I mean, this is more of a cover factory. I also like. Okay, it's a group of studio musicians. That's what I could find out about them. Anonymous studio musicians from the United Kingdom.
Why would they want to be anonymous?
Who knows? And yeah, this is. It's just kind of it's a pop cover. They really try to be close to the original.
Yeah.
And it just ends up like sounding more generic overall. Like,
yeah.
I'm
surprised
the vocals
it's
are
studio
weird.
musicians. Yeah.
You surprised the studio musicians because like they should be better? Is that what you're saying?
Because it sounds like it's one guy in a Yamaha. Like,
Yeah, it does kind of sound like
the
that.
drums
sounds
sound
aren't
fake.
amazing.
The horns sound fake. Everything sounds fake and cheap on this.
The vocals are also strange because they're like kind of trying to do the voice of the original. Like he's trying to go a little deep.
Yeah.
But he's just like kind of sounds like that really generic like hard rock voice.
Yeah.
Like pub hard rock, like dad band kind of thing.
100%. And it's like, oh, are we doing a hard rock version? They're like, no, we're doing the cheaply produced version.
It's very strange. Yeah.
Very strange.
It's just, like a cheaper version. And yeah, that's weird. That's weird.
Yeah.
It's like almost entirely non-noteworthy. And then it cuts out very, very suddenly, which is funny.
Yeah.
And I assume it's meant to be like crossfaded. So like you're never actually supposed to hear that. Like it's supposed to be part of a mix. Yeah.
You're right. That is right. You can do whatever you feel.
Yeah. It's just like over.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It's barely like half the length. It's not even half the length of the original song. So they were just trying to cash in on something, I guess. In the year 2011, I don't know how hot Y.M.C.A. covers were then.
I don't know.
But let's talk about a group who has some claim to be singing this song. In the year 2013, it's Liberty and Justice and Chris Dickens.
Yeah, I forgot to look up that second name.
I think I've got him. Yeah, I've got him. So Liberty and Justice is a Christian hard rock band, and Chris Dickens is a singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist focusing on rock and blues music for, you guessed it, good Christians.
And then there's even another name on there. Kelly Keeling.
Oh shit, is there another name?
There's a few names on there. Hang on, I can't see them.
This is one of those scenarios where it's just everybody in the band.
There's so many.
Kelly Keeling.
And then ... Like there's more.
There's more?
There's
Jesus
more.
Christ.
Let's see.
Wait.
Kelly Keeling and Neil Zaza. And I forgot to look up those other names because I only just noticed them now.
I just noticed them now. Listen,
are they just band members? I assume they're all.
This feels like they're just band members.
That's
Kelly
my
Keeling
guess, and I just don't want to look them up right now.
Well, listen, Kelly Keeling is an American musician, singer, and songwriter. Began his musical journey at the age of 14 and gained early recognition as the lead vocalist of the heavy metal band Baton Rouge. He's worked with acts including Alice Cooper, Whitesnake, Blue Murder, Dawkins, Michael Schnaker Group, and Trans-Siberian Orchestra. What he's doing with these guys? Oh, it's him though. He has worked with Liberty and Justice. I'm seeing that. And who's the other one? Neil Zaza?
Yeah, I believe that was the name.
The American rock guitarist known for his instrumental rock compositions, as well as his adaptation of classical works by Bach and Mozart into his own blend of neoclassical melodic guitar instrumentals.
There you go. That's the guy.
That's the guy. We covered it. So this version has a right to do this song because they're Christian.
Yeah. Interesting. And I mean, the Christian doesn't really come across.
No.
I mean, they're a hard rock band. This is like a metal version.
Yeah, with way too many people on it for what they've made here now.
Yeah.
I don't know, there's two other guys, and it's like, this is pretty straightforward hard rock.
It is pretty straightforward, right? Yeah, I don't know. I was like going through their stuff because I was like, this can't be the Christian group. And yet it is. But yeah, metal version. It's got the heavy distorted guitar. It's got the heavy drums. You know, they do like a lot of strumming, like chugging, and then it's like muted while they're singing, and then you know it opens up other times, and then
Some
it's
real,
more open in the chorus.
Strained noises on that guitar.
Yeah, that kind of stuff that you get from like metal, where it's kind of sounds like the guitar's breaking apart. So they got like a decent metal sound. It sounds like metal to me. And then like there's a guitar solo later on, so like they do the shredding.
Yeah, Soul's like around 2:15. I do like their heavy metal production of Young Man.
It is very intense, right? You get that Young Man, and then like that's the backup, and then the lead does like the rest of the line.
Yeah, my thing with the lead though, we need a bigger singer on this. They're doing like the kind of like high up, like kind of hair metal-ish vocals, but they're not going far enough, I think. We need this guy to sell the heavy metal version of this as hard as Victor Willis sells the disco version in the original, you know?
Yeah, he's maybe like, and he kind of needs it to be a little more.
Yeah.
Just because of the shift in genre.
Just give me a little more. So yeah, these guys pretty well put together. It gets a little boring for me. Because I think we also suffer the same problem that Berk and the Virtual Band have, which is like, well, why the fuck is this?
Right.
Y.M.C.A.
This one makes more sense a little bit, but again, yeah, a lot of them don't have much Y.M.C.A. in them.
Yeah. And
even this one, like, where's the riff isn't there? There's no da-da-da.
Yeah, no riff. The lyrics are there. They're kind of swallowed up a bit. Like, it's a bizarre choice. I was putting this on this morning to refresh myself, and my partner Greta said, she's like, I don't think anybody needs to cover Y.M.C.A. And I'm like, yeah, 100%. Like, no cover this week feels like it was...
like, necessary.
Shootin' Goon kind of is, like, our front runner at this point by right of, like, punk has a communal element to it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's very strange. Yeah, I wish there was more Y.M.C.A. in these.
Yeah, I feel like also a non-Christian like hard rock or metal band would do better with this than these guys.
It's usually the case.
Looser, a little crazier.
Usually the case.
That's the case in general. But our case is that we got to move into the year 2019.
Can I theorize about that real quick?
Sure. Yeah. Come on. Tell me.
I have like one line. Why it's weird. We talked about recently about genres having aesthetics and values.
Ethos, yeah.
I think the issue with Christian versions of genres is that they take the aesthetics and, I mean, change the values. That's kind of the point.
Right.
And that's why it feels weird.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Just wanted to say that out loud because it popped into my head.
No, that's a good thought.
They don't, I mean, in here, and maybe because of that, because they don't have the values, the aesthetics get a little cheapened at times. Yeah. I'm just theorizing further. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, because they wouldn't be punching the same way an authentically metal group would be.
Right, because in many ways, the aesthetic follows the values, you know, especially if you talk about like punk or something. Like, why does it sound like that? Well, they wanted to make simple music or whatever. They wanted to make more relatable, you know. But it comes from the values, you know. You value simplicity. So if your values, if you just take the aesthetic without the values, then you're just kind of recreating it. You don't have that same ability to like take it further.
Yeah, it's just like when priests try to rap.
Yeah, exactly. I went to a rapping priest one time.
You went to a rapping priest one time?
I was like part of a youth group.
That's right.
And we went to see this rapping priest, and he just like rapped about how like abortion made him sad or something. Anyway, I don't want to get into that too much, but I did see that happen one time.
I would love to get into that a lot more. How old were you?
How old was I? Probably 12 or 13.
12 or 13. Okay, so you're at the prime age to like hip hop. I mean, for regular people, not for you.
Yeah, not for me, because I was a bastard. But you know.
And was he dressed in any sort of hip hop style, or was he just in priest garb?
I don't remember what he dressed like. He had like robes on. He was more like priest
He
like.
had robes on. Okay, interesting. Okay, interesting. We're gonna move forward though to the year 2019 to talk about Ross Antony.
It's fun to stay at the Y.M.C.A. It's fun to stay at the Y.M.C.A. They have everything for your men to enjoy.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Not a rapping priest, but a
Not a
British
rapping
singer,
priest.
entertainer, and presenter based in Germany.
Yeah. Never heard of him before, but it sounds like he's really more popular.
What about
in Germany?
the R&B pop group Brosis?
Yes, I've also not heard of Brosis.
Yeah, me
Presumably, they're siblings.
that would be my guess.
They're not.
They are somebody's sibling.
They're all somebody's siblings. Anyway, okay.
Yeah,
They're
okay,
reality.
what kind
I mean, he comes out of reality TV, like the reality TV competition winners, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So like, and he went into like television presenting, so it's all very like pop stuff. He's also done like staged musicals and things like that.
Yeah.
So like, he's a good enough singer. What I will say about this version: one, it's a party version,
That's correct.
and two, it's not that different from the original, but with modern production, you know?
It's like, imagine sign posters, but they had a budget behind them.
Right.
That they also wanted to make an EDM version, but didn't want to try that hard to do it.
Yeah, because it has like the beat,
Yeah.
and then it has like, we did trumpets, like brass sounds, and like, it's definitely got better production than that, right? Like, it feels more competent.
Yes.
It's definitely, but it is also like very simple, and then it's like electronic, so you get like the electronic drum rolls and stuff, and it's very like hype up, and like the big horns still there, but like,
Yeah.
and like the really heavy drum beats that like you couldn't really do to that extent in the 70s, you know.
Exactly.
There's like twinkly synths in the background to fill up the space, and it's not overshadowing the horns, so like it's all done
No.
well,
It's all done well.
you know, but it's just like really like hype up party version. So that's like
Yeah.
the strength of this one is it. That said, it doesn't break out of the like kind of generic sound
Yeah,
of many
it
of
doesn't
them.
crack out any mold here. It's
Yeah.
The most exciting thing about this is he performs it for a COVID-19 event called the Schlager Love Story 2020. And the best part is just all these people in unicorn
In the
mascot
unicorn,
outfits.
yeah, right. The like, yeah, it's like a big like cross-shaped stage,
Yeah.
and he's just surrounded by like balloons and people in. I mean, they're those inflatable kind of costumes, like the T-Rex ones, but they're unicorns
Yeah.
instead. I don't
They've
know if they're
got
actually
these
inflatable, but they look
Big
inflatable.
windows on the neck for
Yeah,
a person to
for
see
faces.
through too. Yeah.
And there's, oh my gosh, 122 or so. There's just a guy clapping kind of slowly.
Yeah, you see him earlier mouthing the words too. He must be one of the hosts of this event.
I don't know who any of these people are. I'm
I
sure
don't
they're
know
famous
either.
for some people, but I don't recognize any of them.
It's a German event,
They're
so
German.
it's
Yeah.
German TV event. So yeah, it's your very like mono country celebrities. They're famous in Germany and nowhere else. I would imagine.
Schlager Love Story 2020.
Schlager Love Story, baby.
And he's wearing a yellow suit. That's also fun.
Yeah, he is wearing a yellow suit. I do believe, I'm gonna guess this dude's gay. Like, so
Could
it
be.
feels authentic that way, and making EDM mix feels like the correct gay culture move.
Yeah. So, like, decent enough version. None of them really seem to stand out.
Decent, forgettable. We're gonna
Yes,
come to.
he is in a civil partnership with opera singer Paul Reeves.
Hey, good for them.
Oh, no, wait. They're married. Oh, that's nice.
That's nice. That's good. We're about to talk about two guys who are not in a civil partnership, which is good because I think they're brothers.
They at least alleged to be brothers.
Yeah.
Bros, if you will.
Melodicka Bros 2021.
It's fun to stay at the Y.M.C.A. They have everything for your mental.
The Italian cover guys, they did All Star and I Will Always Love You, which we've talked about on here before.
Yeah, we've talked about him a few times.
They're great. I love these guys.
They're fun. They do seem like they're just having fun. They're just like two Italian guys.
Yeah.
The big thing that I would say maybe limits them a bit, if you read their description of themselves, is that they try to make things opposite.
It's a very like simple gimmick in that regard.
Yeah, but that said, it's more dynamic in the sense of it feels very different from the original. And that one has that. This one has that for sure. This is the Way Too Sad cover.
Yeah, and dynamics in general. Most people would settle for what they start with here for a Way Too Sad cover and be like, we nailed it. Acoustic guitar. They do a synth solo in here that fucking...
They do that synth solo.
Independent of the song, it just rocks. I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, this is good.
Yeah, it is. It is nice. Yeah, it all works. I mean, they start with like that like slow guitar. There's time and like piano, ambient piano, a little Donkey Kong Country at times with the ambient piano.
Doing the brass section, that piano.
Yes.
Dun, 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 but it's all sad. And
right, so you're actually getting the riffs, right?
Yes.
It's nice to get the riffs because then it doesn't feel like it could be any song.
Mm-hmm.
And then like a cello playing. So yeah, they like keep it low for the most part, but it does like a build, you know?
Yeah, a dramatic build without quite falling into that cinematic trailer version territory.
Yeah, it definitely like adjacent, but not quite.
Yeah.
And then like they bring in like an electric guitar to play like some arpeggios, and it's all minor and stuff. I think it's minor. It sounds minor.
Yeah, it sounds pretty minor to me. Yeah, we get like some slide guitar, I think, in at some point, maybe.
Yeah, but it is really interesting because it's almost like prog rock.
Yeah.
You know, like, because they do quite a bit of changing it up. And there were times where I was like, oh, it's a little Supertramp. And then I thought maybe, oh, it's a little Flaming Lips. And then I thought Pink Floyd. And then I thought Led Zeppelin. Like, there's a little, like, Stairway to Heaven in here.
Yeah.
Kind of.
You definitely got, like, the Pink Floyd moodiness, if nothing else.
So, like, there were definitely times where I was like, is this a little... So they kind of have that, like, progressive rock thing going on.
Yeah.
It's at least an interesting version, you know? And then, of course, the synth solo is fun, too.
Yeah, it rips. I think it's so good. They do brush up against the same problem that I've talked about with all these other artists.
Yeah.
Why is this Y.M.C.A?
Why? I mean, this is very much more like a novelty, right? Like they do this as a novelty of, we did this because we wanted to make it as different as possible from the original.
Yeah, take a popular song, do it. So them amongst all of these guys have the most like vision coming into this song, even if it is a pretty bare gimmick.
Yeah. But like at least, and then they like do something with it, right? Like it's like progresses through various things, which it doesn't need to, you know, it's a cover of a dance track, really. But I guess that's part of it, right? Like dance tracks tend to be very static, and they do the opposite by giving it like several different sections that just like do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, different sections, solid production all around on this. It's just a solid piece of music.
Yeah.
We get to the second verse, like things kind of pick up. We got some more staccato in the mix. It's like, you're right, like this prog rock movement. I mean, I'm not to spoil the final verdicts. This is by merit of just musicianship alone, I think the best version this week.
It feels like the only one that like kind of matters.
Yeah.
Which is, again, not to spoil too much, but you know.
But, I mean, might as well get... There's a music video for this. It really is just them playing in the studio. Yeah,
it's sad. You know, film grain, kind of the colors are washed out. Everything's very moody. It jumps between them. You never see them both at the same time. It's a lot of, like, close-up shots, very pensive. Show the different instruments. The electric guitar that comes in. They show the electric, and, you know, you see the guy play the synth solo, all that stuff. So it's all there. But, you know, it's pretty standard for this kind of like YouTube cover thing where it's like you can't have a high concept video every week. You have to just show the recording because that's probably all you have time for if you're doing things on the
some
short
are obligatory,
schedule.
man. Like you just got to knock a video out.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's got to be a video.
That's it. Like, so let's get into our final verdicts.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We got 3 categories this week: the worst version, the best version, and the new gay anthem. Victor Willis doesn't want this to be a gay anthem. A cover can be. What's it going to be? But first, Alex, what's the worst version?
What's the worst version? Worst for me, there were some contenders, let me tell you. But I think worst for me has got to be the Signposters, because it's really just a nothing cover.
Truly.
Like, this comes up every once in a while. It's like you didn't change anything other than you made everything a bit worse.
Yeah.
And that's what this one is. That's all.
And not
it
even
is.
like making things worse by experimenting. It's
Right.
just like making things worse by not having the budget.
Yeah, by like
to do
playing not as good,
better. Yeah.
and the sounds aren't as good. Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah. Worst version for sure. I agree 100%. Best version, I think we've already said it, but if you're going to surprise us, now's the time to do it. Alex, what's the best?
The best version. This won't be a surprise. The best version is the Melodicka Pros.
100%.
I already said it's the only one that kind of seems like it justifies its own existence.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
It's fun. It's a good ride from start to finish.
Yeah.
You got new guitar stuff. You got a synth solo. You've got a progressive structure. It's great. Alex, what's the new gay anthem, though?
The new gay anthem. I mean, you kind of already alluded to this, but I feel like... Oh, no. Okay, here we go. I got this. I almost said Ross Antony. I think that could work. But, I mean, in terms of being a little bit subversive, I feel like you got to take the Christian rock one. It's got to be liberty and justice.
Oh,
You got to keep that subversion by, like, using it for something it probably wasn't intended for.
Right, so we're subverting liberty and justice. That's
Exactly.
good. Yeah, I like that. That's good. I'm going to go along the same lines. Like Ross Antony would be the cheap, easy answer. It's just like, well,
Because
hey,
it's like,
here's
it's the updated
update.
version.
Yeah. But I like the communal spirit of punk rock and ska punk. People really have a great community feeling there.
That's true.
And yeah, punk rock's a good space for queer people. Y.M.C.A, baby.
Tend to be very
Wow.
accepting in my
Shootin'
experience.
Goon.
As
That's-
admittedly not a gay person who might not know, but yeah, that sounds right to me.
It sounds right to me. I mean, there's also like far right punks, but they're not really punks, are they?
No, I
If
don't
you
think so.
about it, they're what
Again,
we'd
it's
call
aesthetic without
Hoosiers.
value.
Right. Yeah. So I think when the aesthetic and the word you just said that I've forgotten
Values.
values are in line, that punk rock is a good space for basically anyone who's not in the mainstream.
Yeah.
So yeah, Shootin' Goon, new gay anthem. If you got different opinions, similar opinions, want to talk to us about a version we didn't talk about, hit us up on Blue Sky at Snakey Me at Alex Wise Guy. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, suggestions for future episodes. You can also email those to us at covermepod@gmail.com. Talk to us there. Be sure to rate and review us. We are on all the apps. We're on Spotify. We're on Amazon. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube Music. We're on Podurama, Pocket Cast, Podbean, all the apps. Hit us up there. Tell your friends, family, neighbors, and loved ones about us what you can really do this week. Take to the streets. Find destitute young men in your area and give them the Y.M.C.A. spiel, but it's about Cover Me. Hey, man, I was once where you are. You got to listen to this podcast. It's going to get you back on your feet. It won't, but we might have a listener. That's how you get a listener, you know?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Folks, make it happen. That does it for today's episode of Cover Me. And as we always say on Cover Me, it's fun to listen to Cover Me.